What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off Live, the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Orrico, joined again by my special guesting co-host, Ryan Bloomfield from Baseball HQ. We are going to be bringing you through the headlines, talking some 3 up and 3 down, and going through all your questions here as we enter into the true stretch run of the fantasy baseball season. The last 2 weeks of Roto, probably your finals and head-to-head. So, Ryan, great to have you back, my friend. Really looking forward to talking baseball once again this year. Probably our last time talking baseball this year before we get to see each other in person in a couple months.
Yeah, a brief hiatus before we hang out in Arizona together. Thanks for having me back, my man.
Of course, man. Of course. It was so nice last time. We thought we would do it again. You are filling in here for Casey Bubba, who will be back on Wednesday and on Friday. We got only 6 shows left in the year. We are really getting down to the end here. But, of course, fill up with your questions. I see Brandon in the chat here. If anybody else has anything, we'll get to it a little bit later on. We're going to run through some of the headlines here first. And I wanted to start with George Kirby, who had a really phenomenal game yesterday, really. 14 strikeouts, was 6 innings, I believe, allowed 2 earned runs. And a funny stat here is that he's only had 2 games where he's in double-digit strikeouts this year, and they're both against the Angels, and they're both 14 strikeout games from George Kirby. Now, overall for the season, it's a 4.46 ERA. It's a 1.23 WHIP. It hasn't been amazing, but below the surface, I don't really see anything to be concerned about in the long run. Ryan, you're close to the Mariners there. I think that's the team that you kind of cheer for. It's the team that's closest to you. Is George Kirby, when you watch him, is there anything concerning about what you've seen this year? Or, considering the injury he had at the start of the year, is this kind of just a washout? You'll be willing to buy back in next season again?
It's bizarre because for most of this season, I was writing off a lot of the early season struggles with George Kirby just because he was not fully built up, ready. It was almost spring training for George Kirby when he had these kind of his first few starts when he returned from his injury and really got beat up his first couple of starts. So I have thought for much of the season that George Kirby's ratios have been inflated, like the year-to-date line, he's pitched better. And then George Kirby goes out and gives up 7 earned runs in mid-August and early September in 2 separate outings. I'm like, what's going on? After that, like before the 14 strikeout start on Sunday, George Kirby had 3 strikeouts in his previous 2 starts combined. It's like a complete roller coaster. Just from watching George Kirby, I think he's fine. Obviously, we see the ceiling, what he did yesterday. Yes, it was the Angels, and yes, those 2 14 strikeout games have been against the Angels. But I think George Kirby's going to be fine. I actually took him as my SP1 in the 5th round of the Too Early Meatball Draft for next season. So I'm in on George Kirby. I'm not too concerned about kind of these ups and downs throughout the season. I just think he's a little bit rusty, got a late start to the year, and I think he'll be fine again next year.
I think so too. The more I dig into him, the velocity has been fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at the O swing, the zone contacts, the swinging strike rates, things of that nature, they're all about where they have been. Stuff is down a little bit from where it had been from 104 down to 97. But I think if you're getting a 5th round George Kirby or something along those lines, I'd be pretty interested in it. Those blow-up starts have been very ugly, as you alluded to. The 7 earned runs really do hurt you. They haven't just been the 3, 4, 5 earned run type of outings. But I think that we're still buying into George Kirby depending on where that price is. Do you think 5th round is where he's going to stay, or do you think, main event drafts, he's going to shoot up in March, probably one way or the other? But for the majority of draft season, do you think you'll be getting Kirby in like the 60 through 80 pick range, something like that? That sound about right?
Yeah, probably. And a lot depends on kind of how you build your staff around that. If you have other good strikeout guys that you want, that's always the knock on Kirby. He needs a ton of volume to be able to get a decent strikeout total. He's been able to do it each of the previous 2 seasons before 2025. Just know that's kind of the bugaboo. So if you do take George Kirby, try and identify other high strikeout ceiling type pitchers to build around him.
Yeah, and to your point, this is the best strikeout rate he's ever had, and he's still below 25%.
Right, it's like league average, yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting a ton out of him there. Hopefully he can keep ticking that up. If he's at 26, 27% in a couple of years, that could be something that's very exciting. Well, let's talk about Mickey Moniak, though. I know it's an odd name to see here when we're talking about, we usually bring up the star players and whatnot, but Mickey Moniak yesterday, there's a lot of people who had head-to-head finals, or maybe it was the semifinal matchup. He went 4 for 4, 2 homers and 2 steals, the double combo meal. You almost never see that with 5 ribby. And Mickey Moniak, I mean, for the season as a whole, 21 homers, 9 steals. He's hitting .268. He's been pretty solid. It's been the most playing time he's ever gotten in his career in terms of games and plate appearances. Was that the problem the whole time with Mickey Moniak, is that he just never was given enough of a leash to really show what he is? Because now that he has been given one, it looks like he's not a terrible player here, Ryan. It looks like he's not a bad offensive threat.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on the Angels too much again, but maybe that is it. 2 years in the Angels organization from 23 to 24 can do a number on you if you're Mickey Moniak. I'm still not like totally bought in long term, but it's been an impressive season for Mickey Moniak. And anyone still listening who is, congratulations if you're still in head-to-head leagues or you're still kind of fighting it out for the rest of this season. We've got an all-cores week, folks, and not only is it an all-cores field week, it is all cores against the Miami Marlins and the Los Angeles Angels. We continue to pile on them, so it's a really nice week to just continue to lock and load with Mickey Moniak. My guess, he might be a little bit overdrafted in 2026, but that's just me being old and crotchety and not believing these 1-year breakouts.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not sure what his contract situation is. I think he's still going to be in Colorado. He's arbitration, so he should still be in Colorado.
That helps. Yep,
it definitely helps. So maybe we get another 20 and 10 type of year from him, which would be nice. But to your point, I don't know how much I want to pay for it. I don't know how stable this is necessarily. He still swings and misses a lot. He still chases a lot. So I don't know if this is like necessarily a true full-blown breakout. But if you have added Mickey Moniak, and certainly if you had him yesterday, he might have secured a head-to-head championship for you. So congrats if that is the case. Let's talk Nolan McLean. Another really good start. 6 innings, 5 hits. Clean ball. No earned runs with 7 strikeouts for him. And what he's done to begin his career, I keep seeing Mets fans invoke the name of Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom and all that. And, well, maybe he's not on deGrom's level. Maybe he is the next kind of Matt Harvey, not in terms of career trajectory, hopefully, but in terms of how good he was right at the start. Because deGrom, when he first started out, he wasn't deGrom. It took him a couple years to get there. McLean seems to be there right away. It's been 6 starts of a 1.19 ERA, a .98 whip, 28% strikeout rate with only an 8% walk rate. He feels very legit, and at this point, it feels like he's going to be very expensive next year, Ryan. Nolan McLean for you, is he a top 25, top 30 starting pitcher, or do you think that people will maybe overreact to a smaller sample size?
No, something like that seems about right. I mean, the big thing I always look at with these prospects is it's not only just like how do they do, obviously, in the majors, but how built up are they? Because a lot of these guys come up and they've never had 100 professional innings or whatever. Nolan McLean is now over 150, if my math is right, between the minors and majors this season. So workload is not an issue for Nolan McLean next year. Obviously, he's not going to keep a 1.19 ERA for next season. Nobody does. But you look at the strikeout rate, almost 30%. You look at the ground ball rate, 64% ground ball rate. That to me, I mean, that's why like Framber Valdez until recently has been so good, is he just keeps the ball on the ground constantly. It's almost impossible to have a bad ERA if you can keep a ground ball rate in the 60s. So you combine that with the strikeout rate for Nolan McLean, you add on the fact that he is pretty much built up, and we have no idea how to predict pitcher injuries, but I will take somebody coming off 150 innings and basically give them as many innings as I would anybody else. So yeah, big fan of Nolan McLean for next year. Top 25 to 35 ish seems about right to me.
He's one of those guys who's had success pretty much everywhere he's been. ERAs are always very low in the minors, lots of strikeouts. The command has at times been a little bit shaky with a double-digit walk rate, but with the strikeouts being in the high 20s, he's always been able to compensate for that. So I think I agree that he is probably a top 30-ish pitcher who's pitching for a good, should be a good team. The Mets have been baffling over the last, like you add Juan Soto and your year has been worse somehow, even though Soto's been great. And, just a side little tangent. Do you think the Mets are going to potentially miss the postseason?
If they continue to play as they have this past week and not hit outside of Juan Soto this past week, I could absolutely see it. The Giants are right on their tail. Like they are certainly no guarantee to get in. Would not be surprised if this continues to collapse.
I wouldn't be either. It's shocking, but lack of pitching depth when your whole rotation is a bunch of rookies that you've called up this year. It's hard to be competitive for sure.
They did do the right thing by combining. I guess they're piggybacking Sean Manaea and I want to say Clay Holmes this week. So that's a step in the right direction. But yeah, like Jonah Tong got destroyed last week. It's even some of these rookies outside of Nolan McLean are struggling right now.
Jonah Tong was just destroyed me in so many leagues. I took the under.
My bad.
In that game. No, you're good. It was my bad, really. All my remaining fab flushed down the drain. I check in the second inning. I didn't see the first. I took the under in that game here on Friday. I'm thinking, okay, let's see what's going on. DeGrom, Tong. 6 earned runs. I have him in like 6 leagues. Absolutely brutal. But you know what? That's fantasy baseball for you. You never know what you're going to get. You take the good with the bad. Peyton Tolley as well. Yes, a bunch of fab burned, but it's a lesson maybe for next season. Nolan McLean or Chase Burns next year. That's a tough one. I think Burns has a higher ceiling probably, but McLean has been so good where Burns has struggled. Might be McLean for me.
I think I'd go McLean. I just, and I don't know how much Chase Burns has actually been hurt recently, but he recently on the IL. Like I agree, Chase Burns has a higher ceiling. I think there's a lower floor there with Burns. So I would go McLean in that comp.
I think I would. Yeah, you don't have to worry about Great American Ballpark and an inferior team, I'd say. And like Brandon says, to quote Forrest Gump, fantasy baseball is like a box of chocolates. Absolutely, absolutely. Jackson Merrill. Let's talk Jackson Merrill. Turned himself around a little bit, but overall it's still been a very disappointing season. He did go 2 for 5 with a home run yesterday. But where I'm at with Jackson Merrill is that I kind of just want to throw away this season when evaluating him. He's been hurt. It's a sophomore slump. Overall, he's still a 111 WRC plus, 13 homers in 104 games, 753 OPS. He hasn't been bad. He's been bad relative to draft price and expectations, but the barrel rate's up. The hard hit rate is the same. I'm not really concerned at all with Jackson Merrill, and I think he'll be somebody that wherever he falls next year, I'll be pretty willing to take him. I think he was an 8th round pick in your early draft, like every day if that's the price for him.
One of my favorite picks in that early draft. I write a speculator column every week for Baseball HQ, and last Wednesday I did a mulligans column, just kind of giving out mulligans. Joe, you need plenty of those on the golf course, but I'm kidding. Just giving passes, basically free passes for down seasons. And Jackson Merrill was pretty much the headliner of that column. I'm with you. I view this as a lost season, injury fueled season for Jackson Merrill. If we take the long view, I mean, this guy's going to be 23 years old next season. He's already got a season under his belt with 24 homers, 16 steals, 292 batting average. I just think like recency bias, this is kind of the prime example of somebody like that. So Jackson Merrill, I'm very bullish on next year. I don't think he'll go 8th round and 15 teamers. I think that was an in-season kind of fall there in the meatball draft. But if you can get Jackson Merrill at a 5th, 6th round price, this guy was pretty much a legit 2nd round pick, top 30, top 40 pick last season. He's still so young. Like, I think that's really good rebound potential.
Good team around him still. Yeah, I think Jenny Butler in the 8th round there got an absolute steal. But yeah, Jackson Merrill gets the mulligan. I definitely will need some mulligans. The last time you guys saw me golfing in Arizona, I had active kidney stones. I was taking morphine. I was taking morphine. I was trying to drink a couple beers, and it was a disaster. By the 16th hole, I had to just sit out.
It was a tough scene. It was a tough scene. I wasn't going to do you that dirty, but you laid it out for the listeners there. So yeah, it was rough. I'm surprised you even soldiered through and did it with the kidney stones. You were in prime form, man.
You know what? When they give me morphine, send me on my way with morphine. I figure I can get by. Steve Gardner must think I'm nuts, but that was a fun day. It was a very fun day.
Hey, we even invited you back this year, so don't worry about it.
Hey, I'm one of the originals. Was there for the first time. I hope to be there for every one of those golf invitationals. And
I don't know who we'll put you with, but we'll figure out those sorry souls.
Some poor sap has to be with me. Let's keep it going with Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge. They both hit home runs yesterday. 54 for Raleigh, 48 for Judge. I figured it's a decent conversation point for. Is the MVP wrapped up? Because you look at 2 different people's opinions, and you might look at 2 different like national writers' opinions, and it might be in stark contrast with each other. I have no idea the way the voters are going to go here, and I don't even know the way that they should go. I don't really have a strong preference between Judge and Raleigh at this point. What do you think? Who do you think is going to get it? Who do you think should get it?
I mean, right now it looks like Aaron. I mean, Aaron Judge like minus 1,500 and Cal Raleigh's plus 550.
Is he really? Wow.
Yeah, unless those are old lines, but I am looking at some active lines, and that's what it looks like. So I honestly think if the Seattle Mariners, I know I'm biased, but if they win the AL West, they pulled into first place yesterday. They're 1 game ahead of the Astros. Yeah. I don't see how it's not Cal Raleigh. To be totally, and everything that we can look at the offensive numbers, but Cal Raleigh plays every day. He manages that pitching staff so well. Like there is a big part of the game that Cal Raleigh does that isn't captured in a lot of this stuff. again, I know I'm biased. I think Cal Raleigh should get it, but it seems like Aaron Judge is, and I would have a problem with that. Although, honestly, I have better things to do with my time than get angry over AL MVP debates. So I will refrain from Twitter debates on it, but I think Raleigh should get it.
I'm still mad that Strider didn't win Rookie of the Year over Michael Harris a couple years ago. So I can definitely see
hey,
on to things.
I'm still mad. Miguel Cabrera got it over Trout in 2012, so that's how old I am.
God. Oh no, that was one of the first ones that really stands out to me as being like controversial, where it could have gone either way. Like it was more like the traditional stats versus the advanced stats that year. Cabrera with the Triple Crown and Trout with like the 10-win season at age 20. I wonder what we're going to see this year. The betting odds, I don't know if that's reflective of what they should actually be right now. I feel like Cal Raleigh, if you want to sprinkle a few bucks on him, that's a pretty decent investment if you're getting him at like 10-1 or longer. A few more home runs. He's got 8 WAR this season. He's got an 8-win season as a catcher. He's played almost every game. He's got 54 homers. He's stealing bases, 101 runs, 115 ribby. I feel like I wouldn't have any problem with it being Raleigh, but I wouldn't have any problem with it being Judge either. Just a fun little tangent there. Let us know in the comments. Who do you think is going to be the American League MVP? And I guess the National League MVP is pretty wrapped up at this point. I think Shohei's like minus 5,000 or something. So I don't think Kyle Schwarber is going to be coming in there anytime soon, as much as people want him to be. But let's talk Fernando Tatis a little bit here. Complete non sequitur to get to Fernando Tatis, who had been very good to start the year, and then he kind of tailed off in the mid-months, and now he's kind of picked things back up a little bit over the last month or so. For the season as a whole, though, I feel like it might be considered a touch disappointing. 22 homers, 65 ribbies, 30 stolen bases. He's hitting 264. He does have 102 runs. But it does feel like overall this is not really what people were hoping for if you took Tatis in the first round. Is that unfair of me to say?
No, I don't think it's unfair of you to say. I think at the same time, I mean, it hasn't been a disaster. So like you're not losing your league because you took Fernando Tatis, which I would argue sometimes is kind of the goal of the first round, is to just not screw it up. And so, yeah, like Tatis, I was not in on Tatis in the first round this year. I think people have that 2021 season ingrained in their memory where Tatis hit 42 homers, 25 steals at 282. I don't know if that's ever going to come back, but I can still see. I mean, this is just another like decent season for Tatis. I think he'll still go in the first round next year, and honestly, he probably should.
Yeah. Do you think the PEDs really had an influence on him there?
I don't know. I can't. Obviously I can't say for certain. For me, it's just the combination of the PEDs and the shoulder. Like I don't know. It's just two like not red flags, but orange flags. And I can only muster one orange flag if I'm picking in the first round. So that really, with that combination of the two, and just we haven't seen that version of Tatis in 4 years.
Yeah, 42 homers in 130 games. He had a barrel rate over 20%. And this year it's at 10%. It's still solid, actually closer to 11%, 52 hard hit. But I kind of agree that I don't know if we're going to be getting 50 home run, 40 stolen base seasons from him. Maybe he's more of a 30-30 guy, and maybe that's totally fine, considering everything, like you said, in the first round. If you're getting this, you're probably not too upset unless you passed up on, somebody who was really good. But I can't even think in the first round, like if you took Tatis, who you would have passed up on that would have been making you hit yourself in the face type of thing.
I mean, if anything, your other alternatives, I want to say like Tatis was going like 8 to 10 overall. Your other alternatives were like Mookie Betts, Kyle Tucker, I mean, J-Ram was already gone. Obviously, Judge, Witt, Ohtani were gone. So it's not like you're kicking yourself for some other obvious alternative, unless I'm totally missing someone. But like J-Ram was gone by then. So
if you took him over Scooble, you're probably not thrilled with yourself, or over Skeens. Duran has been okay. Churio's been pretty good. I guess Jazz, Trey Turner, but you weren't really taking Trey Turner and Jazz at that point of the draft. So, yeah, I guess the end of the first round was a little bit underwhelming overall. Gunnar Henderson, Tucker really cooled off. Lindor's been good. Alvarez missed like the whole season. It's always tricky. It is always tricky, but that will lead us to actually, I want to give you a quick word from our new sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. We are very excited to announce them as our new presenting sponsor of the show. Everybody knows and loves the Hard Rock hotels and casinos, and now you can use a top-rated Hard Rock Bet sportsbook to place all your bets, all NFL season and beyond. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and is also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states launching all the time. You can also play on Hard Rock Bet's unique online casino if you are in New Jersey, like our friend Joey P. From here on out, you'll start to see us use more Hard Rock Bet lines when we are talking about the games. And as we are now a couple weeks into the NFL season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up, and make your first deposit today. All right, let's do some questions. I think we do have some questions here from the folks in the chat. We like Berger or Torkelson this week. I don't really have a strong opinion here, Ryan. Do you?
I would go Jake Berger. I would go Berger. He's playing every day, hitting well. I would take a flyer on Berger.
Okay. Weekly lineup head-to-head points need one of Jarren Duran, Keishel, or Ozzie Albies. Jazz would start at second base or outfield depending on the choice, or do I bench Acuna and start two of those guys?
I would not bench Acuna. Yeah. If you need bags, I'd go Keishel. I don't know. That's a very tough call. Boston gets 6 games. Minnesota gets 7 games, so that helps. And who's the last one? Durant? No, Atlanta gets 7 games. Probably go Albies. Honestly, been hitting better of late.
You probably start Albies.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah, I think it's either him or Keishel. Like Keishel's been really interesting to me recently. It's a points league. It depends, I guess, a little bit on the scoring system, but I don't have any problem going with Albies. They're benching Acuna. You know, we talked about this last week, when we had you on last week about the prospects of benching Teoscar Hernandez. And Teoscar Hernandez immediately that week hit 3 home runs and drove in 8. And, you know, it would have been justified to think, well, maybe I should bench him. But whenever you bench a player of that caliber and Acuna on a much higher level than Teoscar, that's when you're going to get 3 homers, 2 steals, 10 ribbies. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Head-to-head points start one of Miz, Jacob Mizrowski, Cade Smith, and Raisel Iglesias, both with 7 games. In a points league, I'd probably just take Miz and rack up the points with those strikeouts with a Cade Smith or Raisel Iglesias. You never really know. They might pitch once or twice in the week. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I'd probably go Miz. It's a good matchup. It a lot depends. Like, are you chasing ceiling? Do you want to protect a lead? But like, I would go Miz. I would go Miz.
Yeah, in a points league, I think, you know, it's going to be pretty hard for him to score in the negative, just considering what strikeouts usually count for in points formats. I think you're probably pretty safe with him. I think the Cardinals
have an 82 WRC plus over the last month. That is 4th worst in baseball as a team over the last month. So it's a great matchup. Cardinals are playing out the string at this point. I'd go Miz.
Cardinals are really bad. You should be targeting them as much as you can. And Mason Wynn went on the IL too. So one more bat out of the lineup you don't have to worry about there. Start Yuri and Sandy this week in Colorado. Sandy, I think he is back in the circle of trust. Yuri, not sure I'm all the way there yet. What do you think?
Yeah, Sandy. I would not touch Yuri in Colorado. Yuri is limping to the finish line. Sandy seems to be hitting his stride. So definitely Sandy and bench Yuri Perez.
Yeah, I think I'm there as well. Well, we got a super chat. Let's head to the super chat. Really appreciate you, Benny Black, unless I'm mispronouncing that, which I possibly am. Head-to-head scoring lineups locked for the week. Austin Hayes or Trent Grisham need 2 starters between Valdez versus Seattle. I'm scared to start him. Messick at Minnesota, Pablo Lopez at Cleveland, Weathers at Colorado, or Sprout versus Washington. So need 2 starters. Pablo Lopez, I'm locking in right away. And probably Framber. I would probably do it. What do you think there? We'll start with the pitchers, Ryan. What do you think about those pitchers?
I definitely Pablo. I would actually probably go for the other one. I would either go Weathers or Messick. Framber's just not pitching well right now in Seattle. I mean, Seattle's won 9 in a row. Like, they are on fire right now. It's tough to bench Framber, but I would bench him, and I would between Messick and Weathers. I know Weathers is at Colorado, but he's looked good. I'd probably do Weathers as my second.
Yeah, Weathers looking interesting. If you guys are looking for some starting pitching help the rest of the way, I believe Ryan Weathers is just the one start at Colorado this week, but that still could be a very, very nice little 2 starts that you get. Not this week, but 2 starts rest of season. We're into that kind of mode. That could be looking very nice. And then Austin Hayes or Trent Grisham this week. So Cincinnati has 7 games at St. Louis and then versus Chicago, the Cubs at home, and then Trent Grisham at Minnesota, and then at Baltimore. Do you have a strong lean on this one?
I would go Grisham just because it's 6 righties going against the Yankees. I know they're all on the road, but the Yankees get 7 games, so I'd go Grisham and hope this just crazy season that nobody saw coming continues. Grisham would be the move for me.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Grisham heading into next year. I feel like he's probably somebody who's going to be overdrafted a little bit. He's a free agent. So, if he's in Yankee Stadium, I feel like I like him a lot more than if he goes somewhere else. That being said, actually, more of his home runs are away from home. That's kind of odd, actually. I would have expected it to be the opposite, but 18 home runs away, 12 at home. I don't know that I'm buying in. 30 home runs, it just doesn't feel like something he's going to do again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does do it again. 14% barrel rate, but this feels like a career year for Trent Grisham.
This is always every year. This is the hardest type of profile for me to kind of dissect and analyze for the following season. Kind of your vet that we think we know who he is, and then all of a sudden just kind of randomly has a breakout season, and the breakout season is skill supported, right? Like it's been a big drop in strikeout rate for Trent Grisham, career high barrel rate. Like everything below the surface for Trent Grisham supports what he did in 2025.
Yeah.
However, I can't get over a track record of like 5-6 years of Trent Grisham being, below replacement level in the majors. So I usually tend to stay away from these breakouts. Yes, the skills support it, but skills can fluctuate just like surface stats can. And I think the regression is going to be harder than the market's going to pay for.
Each of the last 3 years, you said under 200.
I know.
Does this feel, I'm going to get myself in trouble. I already know it, but does this feel a little bit Jerkson Profari from last year where it's like maybe there's something fishy there? I don't know. I don't want to be that guy, but.
I have no idea. But that's actually, what I just said about this being the hardest player to project, this hardest type of, probably said the same exact thing on Bubba and the Bloom last year about Jurickson Profar. Like, what do you do? And in Profar's case, like, yeah, obviously the PED suspension, but like he has come back and played really well. So
he has, yeah.
I'll be wrong on my stance for sure sometimes, but I just think more often than not, these guys are going to fall back harder than what you'll have to pay for.
I think so too. And I don't know what it is with Grisham. Maybe it's just a career year and, everybody spikes a career year once in their career, obviously. So maybe this is just it for Trent Grisham, but I don't know. Like I can't even predict what the price is going to be. If he finishes up with 33 home runs or something and he's hitting 245, people are going to pay more than I think I'm going to want to pay for Trent Grisham heading into next year. And being a free agent, who knows? Like he might head to a great spot. He might head to a terrible spot. That could really hurt you in the end. So appreciate the super chat there. I really do appreciate that, Benny Black. Story or Ellie this week, man. Be hard to bench Ellie. It's another one of those Acuna things for me where it's kind of hard to bench him. I know he's had a bad second half. I know he has. It'd be tough for me to bench him still.
Tough for me to bench him. And what I said last week about Teoscar that you just brought up, applies certainly with Ellie De La Cruz. So I would be inclined to keep Ellie. It's a nice problem to have. If you don't go with Ellie, Trevor Story's been awesome too. So like I can see going either way. I'd lean Ellie just because what we were just saying, you never know when Ellie could spike a 5 stolen base week and hit 2 homers. I don't know if Story has that type of ceiling in him for a given week, but he's been awesome this year for sure.
He has. He's another one where I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with him next year. I don't know, but we'll see. That'll be a longer conversation at some point. Start Gore, Flaherty, or Verlander. So Gore has, I think, is the Athletics. Oh, no, it's Atlanta, actually. Wrong A abbreviation. Verlander has Arizona, and Flaherty has Cleveland. I think it's probably Flaherty. I don't really trust Verlander. I know he's been good the last few starts, but I don't really trust him.
Verlander's been good lately. I still don't trust him. I don't trust Mackenzie Gore coming off the IL. I'm kind of confused why that even happened in the first place. Jack Flaherty is the, I think, obvious call. Cleveland's down bad right now. Jack Flaherty, yes, he's been frustrating on the surface at times this season, but the skills are still really good for Jack Flaherty. So that's pretty easily, honestly, the pick for me between those three.
Yeah, it was a frustrating year for Flaherty. I agree. A lot of the numbers below the surface look really good. I didn't think he was going to repeat last season, but I thought we'd see a better result this year. But I think he's somebody that'll be worth paying the discount on next year. Should be a bit of a discount after what we've seen this year. Yes. Are you guys backing on Sandy next year if he continues to finish out strong? I am. I was in on him this year. I thought that considering he was ready at the end of 2024, they let him rehab. They didn't bring him back early. He had the whole offseason. I thought he was going to look good this year. And the fact that it took maybe a few more months than expected, you don't like it. Like I drafted him a bunch this year, but he looks like old Sandy at this point.
does look like old Sandy at this point. The whiffs are up in the second half. Strikeout minus walk is almost doubled from first to second half. Shaking off rust in the first. Obviously, he tanked your team in the first half, but Sandy's been much better lately. Still only 30 years old. I think Sandy is he will be on several of my teams in 2026.
The Marlins should trade him the day the offseason starts. Like this kind of production that they've gotten from him in the second half, I think there'll be teams that are pretty interested there. And for a fantasy, player, I'm kind of selfishly hoping that he's in a bit of a better spot to get wins. Good thing you're asking this without Joey P here, because he thinks of Jack Leiter. But what are your thoughts on Leiter going into next season? Has he shown enough development through the season to draft him? I think he has, depending on the price. He's not somebody that I love. There are still some flaws. He walks too many batters. The strikeout rate isn't amazing. He's okay, but the stuff, it does lead me to think that there is another level here potentially. 108 stuff plus. He has 4 offerings that grade out above average. I think that there is still some potential here. I don't think he's a nepo baby like Joe does. I think he's good.
I think Jack Leiter is just okay. But has been better lately. Has been better in the second half. A little bit of a pitch mix change. So like you said, he has those 4 pitches, but Jack Leiter has really leaned into just his 4-seam fastball in the second half. I think throwing it over 50% of the time in the second half. That said, I don't know. His current line, Jack Leiter's current line, a 3.81 ERA on the season, 131 WHIP. That feels about right to me as an expectation. I have a hard time seeing a major step forward for Jack Leiter. I would need to see more whiffs. I would need to see more strikes thrown, and it hasn't been there. He's been better lately, but it's hard to just go in on somebody for a good month and a half like Jack Leiter's had.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The fly balls combined with the high barrel rate are not great. The command is it's not amazing. I'm not sure what the pitching plus number would come out to. 99 with location plus at 91. So below average, especially in terms of locating. I just don't know that the story is fully written on him yet. He's 25. I feel like there could be some adjustments he makes over the years. And, the question about next year, I don't think he's going to be that expensive. I feel like a lot of people are going to see what we're seeing with the barrels, with the walks, etc. If I'm ballparking a price, I don't know if he's a top 200 pick. I think if he's around pick 250 or something like that, if he's your 6th or 7th SP, I could be convinced.
Yep, absolutely. It's so hard to kind of talk about these guys right now because we just don't know what the price is. But I do agree. I don't see Jack Leiter being like a sexy offseason pick, like a helium guy. But
no, I don't think so. Especially not if you're in a room with Joey P. Hope he's doing well. We'll be having back actually next week. Joe and Welsh will be here for that final show, and I think I'll be joining them actually for it. So should be some fun there. Jordan Westburg back today. I looked on Twitter. I didn't see that he was or wasn't back. I didn't see an update either way here. Have you heard or seen anything about Jordan Westburg? Because I haven't.
No, it's very nebulous, and quite honestly, he probably still have other options. Hopefully, have better options elsewhere. Jordan Westburg, he's a gamer, man, but he has played hurt for much of this season. It hasn't been great. So I have not seen anything. I would look at your plan Bs and probably go elsewhere this week.
Yeah, I think that's wise. Let's do one more question for now. Where does Connor Griffin go in drafts next year? This is more of a Welsh type of question, but I don't know that he goes in drafts because I don't know that we can trust the Pirates to promote him early enough that it'll make a difference in draft. The whole Bubba Chandler thing again. The highest level he's played is AA, 21 games at AA. Are the Pirates going to forego AAA? Probably not. They're probably going to keep him in the minors. He's only 19 years old. He's having an amazing season, 21 homers, 65 steals. He's hitting .333. He's been great. But if we're talking standard 12-team redraft leagues next year, I don't think he's worth it.
And that's kind of the league format I'm thinking here. And I just don't see the way the Pirates treated Bubba Chandler this season. I just don't see a 19-year-old, but 20-year-old next year with 100 plate appearances at AA. Think we're gonna not see Connor Griffin maybe until the end of next year, if that.
Yeah. September call-up type of thing. He'll be an expensive fab pickup probably next year around August 25th or something like that. That's my prediction, early prediction. With the Brewers clinching already, will they just rest McGill until the postseason? I haven't seen the most recent update on McGill, but I would imagine they want to give him a couple reps before the postseason again.
And that's kind of the problem, right? And so it goes back to that rest versus rust thing. Like, I agree. I think McGill is going to get some appearances. The problem for fantasy is it's so hard to time when those appearances, if there'll be save opportunities. If I'm the Brewers, I think of this more of like a spring training game where you throw them. You have set days where you throw Trevor McGill and it doesn't matter the game situation, right? That's what I would do if I was the Brewers. And if that's the case for fantasy, like, it's just going to be like the stars have to align for that to equal saves for Trevor McGill, if that makes sense. So I'm skeptical of Trevor McGill's save total over these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. This is the time of year when you don't have time to be like, well, maybe this can, like, no, you kind of have to take the certain things, right? Even if you're not 100% sure about a guy like that outfielder for the Nationals, Lyle, I think it's pronounced Lyle or Lily. I don't even know how to pronounce it, to be completely honest with you.
Dalen Lyle. Yep.
Dalen Lyle. One of those guys where it's like, I don't know that I believe in this guy necessarily, but he's been tearing the cover off the ball for a couple of weeks. So that's the kind of player. It's just one example, right? If a guy is performing today, then that's all that really matters at this time of year. But guys, I think that will pretty much wrap it up for us today. I think we've got to all of your questions, unless I have missed something, but I don't think I have. I think we've gotten all of it. So I really appreciate you guys coming onto the stream. I know it's a little different here. We're on YouTube. It's not Pizza Pia and Welsh, but you guys are still coming on, still watching these shows, and that is very much appreciated. We'll be back again on Wednesday, myself and Bubba. But Ryan, I really appreciate you coming on these last couple of shows, and I want to give you a chance just to let the people know where they can keep up with your work in the off season.
Happy to do it. Great to still see some chatter in the chat. Hopefully that means you all are in the hunt for championships, and best of luck this last week or 2 weeks, depending what your leagues are. You can find me on the Bubba and the Bloom podcast with Casey Bubba. We go twice a week all season, year round. So we will not be stopping after the baseball season ends. So check us out if you want some off-season baseball content. And then my written stuff's over at Baseball HQ. We are already starting to work on the 2026 baseball forecaster, so that will be out in November at some point. So thanks, everyone.
Make sure you guys are checking out the forecaster. It's fantastic. I got a couple of them here, actually. Always great stuff, the baseball forecaster. So make sure you guys are picking one up. Come out to baseball or to First Pitch Arizona in November if you can, run by Baseball HQ. You want to shoot the breeze with Ryan and myself, have a couple drinks, maybe play some golf and watch some baseball. You can do all of that at the Sheridan Wrigley, something like Wrigleyville, Sheridan Mesa, something like that. You can find it all on our website at baseballhq.com. And if you're listening on the podcast feed, click on Ryan's name in the description and you'll get to his Twitter and you can follow him right from there. So really appreciate that. I'm at Joe Orrico 99 if you guys want to keep up with my work, but that will do it for us. For Ryan Bloomfield, I'm Joe Orrico. We'll see you next time right here on the Fantasy Pros Baseball Podcast. Boom, boom, boom. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Excellent. It's funny. When I was looking at the AL MVP odds, I was like, I don't know which sports book is like I should be saying on air. And it turns out